Extracting. Loading.
2D boy.
What the fuck is World of
Alright. What a goo. I'm surprised you never actually heard about this game.
I've never heard anyone talk about the game.
I feel like there was an option for... what's her name?
Goop.
Boop?
Goop.
Goop.
G-U-G-O-O-P.
Okay, make it a little weirder. That works out.
Yeah. Platformer?
This is not a platformer. It's also rather loud. I might have to adjust the volume on that.
I have it set down to 5 via parsec, so I don't hear too much on my end.
Right. What a goo.
What the fuck is World of Goo?
Drag and drop to build the pipe. So you with little goo balls, and you kind of got a little triangle. Boop. And then you gotta make a little tower. Get to the end pipe. That's your whole goal.
Fuck?
I think I might have messed it just a little bit. No, I got it. And you're graded also on how well you do, as in how many goo balls get to the end. And OCD means you did the best you could.
What is the point of Goo World?
That's a good question. And we may answer that later, maybe. Who knows? And even if we do answer it, it probably won't make sense. I'll be honest with you. This game is very artsy, if you can't tell. Which may or may not include the storytelling in terms of the world.
Because I'm getting some early Flash.
I think this was originally a PC game. Don't quote me on that, though. And then it changed, and then it went to the Wii. It was a big game on the Wii. So I was surprised you'd never heard of it, but at the same time, the Wii was a weird age. We all lived to forget that age.
We remember Wii Sports, and that's about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the sign painter. Gives you little hints.
From across a small divide, another mysterious pipe appeared up in the sky. Its opening looked warm and inviting. The goo ball seemed to wonder where it might lead. The sign painter. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like I said, a very artsy game. In the fact that there's a lot of weirdness going on. Art style, you know, not including. There we go. We gotta make it to the end. So now we gotta make it to the pipe. And the reason I'm stretching it as thin as I can is because I'm trying to get the best score. Because the real point of this game later on, you find out, is for every goo ball you save, they kind of go in this sandbox area that lets you kind of build your tower as big as you want, basically. Which you might get to by the end. But simply build towers and/or bridges to get your goose to the pipe. The pipe leads somewhere. Now, I don't know where, but we are this goo omnipresent hive mind, I guess. We control them and we build them.
So how do you know if you got them all? Is there like a timer for them to go into the pipe?
I think some maps might be timed specifically for the OCD, but specifically when I close out here, oh yeah, I got different goo balls.
What?
They function differently.
What
But OCD, such a compulsion distinction criteria is the maximum, basically the highest score. Collect 22 or more balls is basically the best you could do on the map, theoretically. The one on this map, though, kind of sucks to get the best one. This cave looks like it's been undisturbed for thousands of years. Until now, when the pipe broke through the ceiling above, the sunlight must have blinded these rare albino goo balls. They didn't seem to notice when it began to snow. Maybe they would wake up if they had something to jump onto. The sign painter. So the original idea here is you kind of build down, you wake them up, because when the tower touches them, they wake up. OCD, on the other hand, kind of has you do this, and then they kind of get launched up. That's the way you kind of do it if you want a high score, but that's a time waster. So instead...
What the fuck?
I'll also be a little quicker about this. Yeah, this is a World of Goo basic premise. You got goo balls, you got a pipe, you want to get up there.
So can you just touch the goo balls with your pointer?
Only the wake ones. This sleeping one I can't do anything with. He's asleep. But if I can hit him just right, I can knock him into
up and you can...
I can knock him up into this area, and if he's close enough to a structure, they wake up. So now
interesting.
And goo balls also kind of congregate to like the newest built area, as well as the places closest to the pipe. So the pipe is right up here, and you notice these aren't exactly the most robust of placements.
Yeah. Are there some areas where if you place it, it'll just break?
In this part, it won't just break when we place it, but it might break if we aren't careful about balance.
Okay. And if it breaks, you just gotta make more, or?
Basically. They'll introduce a mechanic in the I think the next stage. I don't know if that's enough. Let's see. No, it wasn't. There we go. Let's get this last one. Like I said, OCD requires us to kind of bash them up, but I'm not going to deal with that too long. It's a nice little fun game overall, actually, and there is a sense of puzzling to it. This beginning tutorial area is nothing.
I could see that as a little puzzle and stuff.
And remember, this was a big game on the Wii, which you can imagine why. Wii point sticks, simple graphics, weird style. World of Goo Corporation.
TM.
Yeah.
Now open.
So, hold on.
What the fuck?
There you go. Yeah, that's World of Goo. Well,
there's some kind of Abe's Odyssey shit.
Yeah, the style is very weird. And the World of Goo Corporation, if you go to it, all those goo balls that you went over the limit of how many you won, spawn here. And you get the free build. As much as you want. However, of course, you can't just build forever. You see how that kind of toppling now?
Yeah.
If I build a little bit more here, this should snap. Or bend over and just fall. And then you can see this tower heights. And this keeps going higher. 1.9 meters using 11 or 24 goo balls. And that's the whole kind of secondary big game of it all. Making the highest tower.
This is to make the highest tower. And what's the end goal for that?
There is none. It was high score based. It was an online leaderboard basically. Highest tower was... There would be clouds that spawned in the area that showed the currently highest tower in your area. And, you know, you saw a cloud above you. Someone built a better tower than you did. And that was it. And these ones. Open the gates and fly, monkeys fly. But don't forget about me, okay? Sincerely, the sign painter. So these are balloons. They're not necessarily goo balls. They're just balloons.
Yeah.
But the idea... You see the goo pipe up here. There's no way we can make a tower up to there. So
you have to manipulate the stage.
Is to just kind of make some balloons. We don't need all of them, though. Let me just go. And we just kind of let it ride, honestly enough.
Okay.
And this is just simply introduction into all the different stuff you might encounter in the later game. There you go.
Oh, so it's something at the top.
Now, I don't remember how OCD is that one. I think you have to break the cube, I think. Because you can remove the balloons off of that cube.
Break the cube?
Yep. I can try it real quick, see if it's possible. It's been a good while since I played this game. I played this back on the Wii days, and
yeah,
I can't recall everything, but I think this one's time-based, actually. OCD. Finished in 16 seconds. I think I used too many balloons. I think I already passed the time limit, too.
I was about to say, it'd be nice with an actual timer.
Yeah, but you see how long this one takes just to float up?
Yeah.
But we don't have to try that. And also a skip level function as well. There's Fisty's Bog, which is an unusual name, and Tumbler. I think this one has the go back mechanic.
go back. Oh, so if you mess up, you can reset.
It might be this one, the next
what
one.
What the?
Yeah,
God.
art style is definitely crazy. It's not bad per se. It definitely fits the style and tone of the game, which is great. But it's definitely a bit wacky. Pop a time bug to go back in time by one move. The Traveling Sign Painter. So we're gonna just kind of go. Oh, not you. This is one part that always sucked about the game, though. I want a balloon or a black one, and you kind of just have to cover over it. But if you like the red balloon behind it, the goo balls just don't care.
So it's always a bit tricky. You have to pinpoint what you're grabbing and try not to.
And unfortunately, at times, because right now, let's see if I built. That's a time bug, by the way. If I did this,
the little white thing is the time bug.
That's a time bug. If I do that, see how it's kind of twisting and going up and down. Time could be of the essence right now when I place one down, and it can be impossible to grab a balloon at the right moment. So I'm gonna do. See, if I do one more, it would definitely fall. But I don't want it going too far up because there's spikes on top too. Okay. So we're just gonna let it kind of hit.
Oh, okay, and then the goo ball. When
also,
the goo ball makes the structure, it's no longer able to be collected.
Yeah. So that's how you hit your highest score. Almost. But we're fine. But we're gonna go. Just gonna place 2 regular session, and then if you test time bug, we go back to the move we just did previously. Also, where it was previously as well. So the momentum will continue in a moment as well. So if you're not careful, you might have to catch it. Like that.
Interesting.
But we don't need this one here anymore, because we don't need it. And we can move the balloons a bit. But we're going to need another balloon here in a moment. But I also don't want to touch the top. So as much puzzling there is, there's also sometimes they have to be a little quick. Because it's now, it's a little...
I can see why this was popular. I have nobody.
It's a bit of a weird trip. This game. There we go. Balloons don't count for goo balls. They are balloons, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you have to get that minimum 6 to process and pass.
Okay.
But that's the bridge, and then the goos are gone. The section stops. There goes a little bridge.
That thing's fucking horrifying to look at.
Yeah, those frogs they're gonna stay.
Oh my god.
Along those people you saw earlier too, that's kind of the style of the game, so there's a lot of weirdness. Impale sticky. But it's actually just generally fun. Still build your... This was definitely back in the days before even the bridge constructor games were out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, those games are popular now. Oh, we lost one. No, we didn't.
I honestly don't see a whole lot of bridge constructor games.
No. They kind of became popular more as of late, honestly. And by late, I mean within, like, the last year or two. With Portal Constructor, just general build constructor, and stuff like that.
That's quite literally the only one that I know of, too.
Yeah. So you kind of see how this is a weird one. We're not building a bridge per se in this weird one. And those gears will break it.
Yeah.
If I do this instead, he just dies. And we lose one. And each piece is kind of valuable. And we just gotta be very wary of what we're doing. So now we're gonna do this. And hopefully that doesn't break it. It did. But that might have worked out in the end. There we go. We got it just right.
This is fucking trippy. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Yeah,
I'm like still failing to see
the game style is odd.
Story goal.
To kind of give a quick story idea, World of Goo Corporation it's just this. It's World of Goo Corporation. It's a company that's sprouted up out of nowhere. And its main market is these goo balls, whatever they are. As you can see, the goo balls tend to have this sort of weird sapience to them. But they're used in like a bunch of different products and beauty projects, stuff like that.
Okay.
So they're collecting them and sending them out to the main factory, the World of Goo Corporation, where they get used up and made into stuff. And that's kind of the basic. This is the start of it, where the pipes are being planted and used and grabbed.
Okay.
So the corporation has just started, and it started taking in goo balls. This is the first major level of just tower.
That's why I've been getting, because I've been getting some strong A's Odyssey vibes from it, where that one was about an evil corporation taking, what are they, Madakas or something?
I
turning them
think
into
so.
trees, and then you're basically solving puzzles to get them out. Where this is like the reverse, where they have some weird desire to check out the pipe that's sending them to their death.
Yeah, there's like this weird curiosity to them, but there is a reason to what they're kind of doing too. It's an odd game that way. And yeah, we're trying to build pretty high up actually. This is like the first one, and the sign makes a quick note of it. They have to get really high tower, something like this, but things were more experimental back then. This is, I think, the first prototype of the game, this level. Back when it was on PC, I think. Yeah. Or like a simple Flash game or something like that. This is what they did and developed at first.
Less intricate and more,
a basic premise of what they were going for.
Yeah.
I don't think I can make it with what I'm doing currently. This moving around too much. So we do this. Then something like that might work. And in this one, if you touch the edge, it kind of just breaks. See how they kind of just fall down? They don't die, but it just kind of breaks away.
And it just takes some time.
Yeah.
So in like the time-based ones, you lose time on it for the best score.
So now we need to kind of build something that can prevent that. Now we push it back up just a little bit more. And that hopefully gives it the structure it needs. And we gotta do something like this real quick to kind of balance it out. But this is World of Goo. It's a very simple game in terms of what it is and how you play it, but there is a lot more.
Simple is right, but
art style is definitely very unique, and that is something that will draw a lot of people to it. I know that much. It drew a lot of people to it.
Yeah. This is I'm surprised I have heard nobody talk about this game.
It was a big game years ago, but I mean now it's just on Steam. It's been on Steam, I suppose. It's not much more to it there. If I do this, I think I can get it. There we go. And that last bit required a quick build.
Yeah,
which,
it was gonna fall otherwise.
Again, really worked well on the Wii and stuff like that. As much as this game has a lot of puzzles, there's this weird, almost hybrid of action at times, or fast-paced requirements. And that should be all of them. Yeah. And then the Goo Tower will fall. Because there's no suction left.
Slowly tilting and about to go over.
Yeah, because there's no suction anymore. There it goes.
Oh, alright.
Yeah. It doesn't get too much crazier. There's more goos that get revealed, different types you can try out, and stuff like that.
It's just more intricate puzzle building.
Yep. You go to different worlds as you go back to the main screen here. This is the chapter 1, the Goofield Hill. It's a very plain one. Then you go to chapter 2, Little Miss World of Goo, which has the turbines, which means you have a bunch of like moving around obstacles and stuff like that they have to avoid.
Yeah.
Cog in the machine requires like a lot more tight spaces and movement. Chapter 4, Information Superhighway, is a trippy one, more than you would think, yeah. And then Epilogue in the World, which is just a final mission, basically. There's nothing more to it than that, though.
Interesting.
And then these little Goo balls you can also control.
Okay. How much was World of Goo?
Back on the Wii days, it was probably around $10. I think on Steam it's maybe 10 too. We can check that out in a moment. I can check right now. But it goes on sale often enough, and you can find it for a pretty cheap price. It's definitely a fun and very interesting game. If you have never heard of it, I definitely say go check it out if you're into like the bridge building and those kind of games. It's one of the early ones and still good, I think. I just played it like I played this game maybe back on the Wii a few times and beat it a few times, so I kind of know a good bout of it. And so the levels aren't too surprising puzzling aspect wise. But I mean, the idea is build a tower, do better. So, and there's the OCD challenges, which requires you to do it the best way possible while preserving as many Goo balls as you can, and that's always something to do.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
And then, of course, there's the classic build the tallest tower. There is a maximum of 300 Goo balls that will spawn here that you can save total. And that means you have 300 Goo balls to build your tower. And that's it. The trickiest thing is destroying this first triangle, actually. Which you can do. And you can do some weird stuff. I don't remember a lot of stuff you can do, though. Because I think if you can remove it. Like that. On this one. This is a different one. You can just take them out if you want.
Yeah.
And later on, you do get some tools that kind of help you with build construction. Like a whistle that'll drag the Goo balls to a specific area. Or like it'll call them to an area, making it easier to grab something like this. Without having to worry about actually grabbing the Goo balls, which is a problem. Because I can't grab that. Yeah. What a Goo. Surprised you never heard about it, but it's there.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look into this on my own time later. That's interesting for sure.
Yeah. They also made other games too, which are also of equal weirdness. But I think World of Goo is the one that the most acclaimed for.
Okay.
And is the one most well known amongst the company that made it, or the group. So that's World of Goo.
World of Goo.
How do I exit? There we go.